Warwick, we just finished a great episode with Josh Wymore, the author of the book Humbler Leadership. Whole bunch of stuff in there to unpack. I always feel bad at this point of our wrap ups because I ask you to do something that's almost impossible, and that is, what's one takeaway that you would like folks who have watched and listened to take from our interview with Josh?
Yeah, I don't know if I can cut it down to one, but what I love about what Josh did in his book, Humble Leadership, is he talks about why humility works, why it makes sense, and how really some of it is found in a lot of research, including Jim Collins' Good to Great. In Collins' book, he talks about great leaders, those who have been very successful in terms of the long-term profitability of their companies. Yes, they have this sort of iron will, this clear purpose, but they have great humility. So they have humility plus just a clear plan, just strong desire to transform their companies. And really, humble leadership, it works. He has data in there about people who are humble leaders. They're less stressed, less anxious, happier. It's like, who wouldn't want those things? Right. And I love the definition that Josh Wymore comes up with about humble leadership. And he says it includes these 4 elements: accurate self-perception, appreciating others' strengths and contributions, a growth mindset, and greater purpose. I mean, that makes so much sense to me. I mean, we talk about humility a lot on Beyond the Crucible. It's one of my highest values, as I mentioned in the podcast. Growing up in this very large 150-year-old family media business in Australia, where there's not a whole lot of humility around often very successful executives, and at the parties that, the house I grew up in, we had prime ministers, ambassadors, business leaders, and so forth. So I'm very well aware of that. And so humility has always been one of my highest values. So really, we talked about on the podcast, you raised the issue of when you come back from a crucible, you've got to have the humility to be self-aware, especially when, let's say, the crucible was your fault. You made some mistakes. Right. You got to learn from those mistakes. You can say, oh, there's a lot of learning lessons, but if you don't learn them, what use is it going to be? And so just starting with having an accurate self-perception of yourself. It doesn't mean, you have this sense of, oh, I'm hopeless. Nobody should love me. I need to hide under the covers. Don't look at me. It means, yes, there are areas where I'm not good at, but maybe there are areas where I'm great at. And it doesn't mean you can't be humble, but still realize you have certain gifts and talents that you're good at. That's okay. And by having an accurate self-perception, it helps you appreciate others' strengths and contributions that you don't have. And because you're humble, you don't have to win all the time. You don't have to be the center of attention. As Josh said, great leaders put the spotlight on others, not themselves. That is so true. You hear about great leaders talking about their own maybe failures and faults and talking about the successes of others. A growth mindset. Humble leaders, they always want to grow. How can I get better? How can I improve in my craft? And greater purpose. It can't just be about me. In our language, we talk about a life of significance, a life on purpose dedicated to serving others. That's having a greater purpose. So really what Josh Wymore says, it makes so much sense. It works. The data shows it. I mean, he has so much data that shows how effective humble leaders are. It doesn't mean thinking of yourself as hopeless or some humiliated, awful person. It's just realizing you don't have all the answers and being willing to learn from others, being willing to shine a light on your team members, having an accurate self-perception, and just, we talk about having a team of fellow travelers to help you. So being a humble leader just makes sense. How many arrogant leaders succeed long term? I would say few to none. Eventually, who wants to work for an arrogant know-it-all leader? Eventually, the good people, the people you most want, they'll leave. So you want to be successful from a long-term perspective. You want to have a legacy that people admire. You want to have family members that actually like you and admire you. Try humbler leadership. You'll be more successful in the broad sense of that word at home, with your friends, at work, everywhere. It just makes sense. So, you want to have joy and fulfillment in your life. Try being a humbler leader. What Josh Wymore talks about makes so much sense.